We're on. I was expecting for you to play the music like you normally do and then start it. Anyway, apparently I'm wrong.
I did.
Oh, well, I was expecting to hear it. I'm sorry, everybody. Thank you for tuning in with us. We're doing a special live show tonight with Norman and Cheryl. Howdy, Shell. I got it right. And we're going to be talking about crystals. Thank you for tuning in. This is Otherland Dreams. I am Lady Stars on Fire. And Hill Hippie is back there playing on the boards. Say hi,
You
honey.
don't know what I'm doing.
See? That's how he is. Anyway, say hi, everybody, to Norman and Cheryl. Howdy, Shell.
Hello.
Hello.
So what's up? Tell me about some stones. First off, what is this one? Because I'm really being drawn to it.
This is fluorite, um, a strong stone for cleansing, for self assurance.
It's just as soon as you pulled it out, I was like, my mind was saying it was adventuring, and I'm like, that is not. But I was being pulled to it, so I wanted to know. But thank you. Okay, proceed on. Tell me about crystals today, honey.
Well, first off, Cheryl and I would like to thank you and Hill Hippie very much for having us on this time again and the first time. Um, since that first time, it's been a lot more interaction. It's been a wild ride since then, and we're very appreciative of what you've done
Hmm.
and how this mutual thing is taking off. So thank you very much.
Yes,
Well,
thank
thank
you.
you too. I think it's a wonderful thing for all of us.
So when you approached us about doing a show, when we started talking about stones and crystals, I thought about the people that come into the shop and how you know a lot of them ask stones. What about stones? They're just rocks. Well, no, wrong. Man has actually been using stones for energy and healing since 900 to a million years ago, for energy healing, for energy downloads. Um, Shamans, Indians have been using them for their healing properties. And because they are created by the hand of Creator, just like we are, they have those same healing properties in them that other things do. Stones, we are made of energy. Stones are made of vibrational energy, and when you match those two together, it's a perfect combination for healing disease, for helping you to feel better, for controlling anxiety, for vast,
Number
vast
of
amounts
things,
of
yes.
things. Yes. So I started thinking more and more about how to explain stones. And at the shop, I explain it one or two ways. Most people who understand energy, I explain the stones as either um, that they're all doctors.
Hmm.
The main ones that we'll talk about tonight are primary care physicians. They're the ones that heal the whole body and work together with you to find out how to get you back into tune.
I have a question.
Yes.
Oh, I already know the answer, but I want to go down that road because people get into crystals and they, you know, for a major variety of reasons. And crystals are a wonderful, glorious, beautiful thing. I love my crystals. But like you said right in the beginning, some people are like, they're just rocks. Crystals have reasons that we've come to understand what they mean, and they mean different things as we get to know them better for ourselves. But what about the person who does? Okay, like Hill Hippie and I, we go hiking a lot, and sometimes you want the rock. What is your opinion or your thought of not the crystal, but the rock too?
Okay.
So
I'm
you're
just
looking at the
breaking you
rock
off.
as
Are
in raw
you
form.
are you
Yeah,
talking raw versus tumbled?
yeah, no, I'm talking
Okay.
like you found it out in nature and something called to you, and it's not been taken care of any way, shape, or form. But I need to keep you.
That is a strong way that we make connection with stones. Um, is by seeing and having that feeling that there's something more about you than just a brown rock with dirt on it. I don't know what it is, but there's that connection somehow that I need you,
No, and
you
and
know,
and
and
I said ask the question because, like I said, I already knew it, but some people don't know the
sure.
difference, and you may actually be called to because from time to time, I come across a rose quartz that's still just a rock in its form, but they don't realize
Yeah,
what
that's
they're
what she's
getting
talking
into.
about. Stuff like that.
Did you just go to get those out of the yard?
Maybe.
But I mean, I'm all about the crystals and stuff, but sometimes we're also drawn to the raw and we don't even know or realize why. And I just wanted to touch base on it before you got into all of the stuff that really deserves it. But people also do get into the rocks and don't really realize they're actually being pulled to the crystals. But for some reason, this natural one is like important too. You know what I'm saying?
Without the aid of hallucinogens or anything along those lines,
What?
you
Look at him, what?
you can be, yes, special mushrooms or anything like that. Um,
Now you're talking my language.
Stones will call to you. That vibrational energy that's within stones and within us is a two-way street, and they have a way of sensing what's going on in you, what you need, how they need to work for you, and what particular property within them will best work for you.
But that's what I was getting at
Sure.
before you started getting into all of this because sometimes you're like me. I am love my crystals, and I know I'm not I don't know a shit ton about them, but I know enough, and I love my crystals, and I know which ones I need at what time. But then also there's sometimes the ones that I've collected that are just like mine, and as you've done that with the ones that that you purchase that are crystals, there are also those ones that from time to time you go back to, and for whatever reason you're like, I know this is this for me, and I need this one today, and that's completely fine.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
your gut feeling, that's your intuition, that's
Hmm.
your whatever you want to call it. That's your connection with the stone.
And the oneness and
Yeah.
everything else in a form. I mean, on a bigger aspect.
Yeah.
But I just wanted to touch up on that before you got going on everything you have.
And if you go back to Lemuria, when a lot of this started, we had an even stronger connection with the stones because we were still in more of our ghostish
Energy form.
energy form, and we had stones implanted in our foreheads, and those stones were for healing, for giving us information, for us to download memories
Hmm.
and keep records of. And stones have played a large part of spirit's history since the dawn of creation. So now earlier I said, or the other way that I use to describe stones are that stones are like children. Now, number one, they have an abundance of energy. Number two, stones will mimic what they see, or for stones, they'll take the energy around them that's present. So, whatever energy that's within you, they're going to draw. Number three, stones are like children because they both need to be cleansed often. And number four, stones are like children because if you put too many of them together without supervision, it's going to be overwhelming.
But aren't they also like children? Because just like a human being, they need to be loved.
They do. And we will get to cleansing and taking care of them a little later. But they are providing more than you know to help you out, and showing them love with cleansing and with setting your intention with them plays a big part in this relationship that we have with stones.
I agree. I'm just saying. I always tell people, I'm like, well, you have to make friends with them, man. I'm like, if you're not, I'm like, you can't just, whether it's a rock outside, a crystal you've bought, or with an intention or whatever. I'm like, if you just take it and hold on to it, you don't even make friends with it. How are you expected
You
to really
have to
help
be able
you?
to connect with it.
Exactly. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, so you have to be able to get into that connection. It's not something I'm just going to buy, put on the shelf, and, oh, it should do what I wanted to because I said so. You need to make that connection. And in that sense, I agree with you. I mean, they're like children. You have to love them, you have to nurture them.
We have to
You
work with
you
them.
can take a stone and say it should do what I want it to do because I said so, and it will do that to a certain degree. If you take that same stone and say, I love you, I want you to do this for me, we're working together, I'm going to, cleanse you under the light of the full moon and so forth, it's going to do that all the more because you're showing it love.
See, for me, not to get you completely off your subject, so I'll try to make it quick. But for me, I've noticed, all right, now I'm a Leo, so I can be a bit cocky. So my best interest with the Stones relationship is I apologize to it before we even start. I'm like, I know that I'm gonna love you, and I know I'm gonna do a lot of shit wrong. And I'm not gonna do exactly the way that you wish I would like you to. But can you work on forgiving me, and I'll work on getting better about it. And I remind the stone this over and over, and we become a better relationship. But that's because, like I said, I'm aware that I'm cocky and I forget this on my level of in life. And then I'm like, oh, yeah, wait a minute, I haven't been nice to you. And then they start being all nice to me again. And I feel that that's important because there's got to be people like me out there who have the same issue.
All right, well, I'm going to throw this right back at you. Okay. A diamond starts off as coal
Hmm.
that's put under a lot of pressure, a lot of heat, and turns into a diamond.
Hmm.
Okay, so most of these stones are saying right now, give us what you got, and we'll turn it into something that is of great benefit to both of us.
I agree. That's exactly what I'm saying. It's the working together. But I have met people who give up on them so quickly because they don't put forth any effort.
Oh, exactly. I definitely
Yeah.
agree with you there. And, you know, going back to what you said, oh, okay, this is a smoky quartz. All right, it's going to do everything for me, and I don't have to do
Shit.
a thing. Okay? Well, no, because this is 49% of the equation. 51% is what you've got here.
Right.
And setting your intention and living it as if you've already got it is the way that makes it happen.
Exactly.
Okay? We're not all going to be, all we have to do is sit under the tulip tree and drink mint juleps for the rest of life. No, we got to actually work for it.
I love you.
I had to think about that as I was going along because I was going to go on a tangent elsewhere. But
That's why I was
I
like, I
saved
love
it.
you. I was like, listen, he's getting excited. Okay, I'll shut right up. Now proceed.
So, so people come in, I direct them to the primary care physicians, and a lot of people ask, okay, so what are the major stones that I should have? What should I start with? So the the largest percent of stones that you should start with are from the quartz family.
Hmm.
And a lot of stones work good with the body because their chemical compound are similar to ours. Okay? Quartz, for instance. Quartz is made up of a strong silica base, and in the water that is in our body, the 70% water, that water is a silica based as well. So clear quartz, very strong for a very strong amplifier. It's strong for strength. Yeah, it's good for strength. It's good for helping you to reconnect with yourself and get yourself back into alignment throughout all of your chakras. In addition, clear quartz is lovely because I don't know if you can see that in there or not, but a lot of these stones have uh, hold memories of things that have happened previous on Earth, and there is quite a few stories in these that you can reflect on and gain knowledge from.
It's like a
So,
timepiece.
exactly.
I always also refer the quartz in two different ways when I tell people. I'm like, for one, a quartz in a form is like a little bit of everything. I was like, and with the abundance of it, and when I'm like, it's kind of like when we get into our spiritual energy to a level, I'm like, we're kind of like a battery. Are we connected? Are we a positive connection or a negative connection as a battery? I was like, well, the quartz is already a connected positive battery. I was like, so when you connect better with it, then it becomes stronger because some people pick up more energy from the other stones than a quartz.
True.
And there's reasons behind that, but
There
they have to
is.
figure that out for themselves.
Um, every stone has multiple gifts, blessings, whatever you want to call it, that they provide. For instance, the carnelian that I'm wearing, um, it probably falls 250th on the list as far as being something to connect your crown to your higher self and making that spiritual connection. But for me, that's my connection. It's number one on my list for
Right.
stones that I go to do that. So, for you, it may not do that at all. For the next person, it may be, high on the list as well. And we're going to talk a little bit later about, how stones are supposedly for the chakras, but that's an entirely different ball game as
Yes,
well.
it is.
So that was clear quartz. This is rose quartz, and we will talk later about whether it should be raw or it should be polished, whether it should be shape or something. But rose quartz, here again, silica based. It is a stone of love, primary for self love and getting ourselves to be connected with ourselves, to reconnect with our heart centeredness. But it helps us to see things through love's perspective. Now, their names don't end in quartz. However, amethyst
That's
is a
beautiful.
member of the quartz family. And amethyst is best known as the all healer of people stone, um, because of its helping you to reconnect, helping you to get back to your centeredness. It's very good for calming. It's gentle healing, um, and it's for a lot of people, it's a very good stone to have if you have trouble sleeping. It will help you to sleep. And in doing my research for all of these this time, it also come up as one of the number one stones to help out and to carry if you have migraines. So that is another member of the quartz family. And this is citrine. Um, citrine is like clear quartz, um, very good for strength, a very good amplifier. Um, it is also very good for abundance and prosperity. Um, and I learned from another stone guy not too long ago that this is a heat treated version of amethyst. Um, when it's heat treated, it turns this color. When you find citrine that is true raw, it almost looks clear like,
Pale yellow, very pale
yeah,
yellow.
very pale yellow.
I had
So
heard too that about what you were just saying about the amethyst. So to
that
say
way.
amethyst, but and I was gonna ask because some people get confused because don't it eventually turn into the other?
Turn into.
I don't remember where I read it before, but some people will be confused by the citrine versus the amethyst when it's heat treated. I remember reading it somewhere.
I'm not sure. Now I know that sometimes you will find all of these grow in veins or cavities underground, and you will find cavities that have amethyst in one area. In the next area will be citrine, and then right where they merge, you'll see purple with streaks or background colors of the brownish or yellowish in it, and that is known as ametrine,
All right, that might
which
be
is very
exactly what it
strong
was.
in the same properties. Here again, quartz.
How they
So
would
it
grow
does.
together.
Yep.
Plus, I had heard, and I'm asking because I could be very wrong. There's always information. Listen, people, there is always information on the internet that is lies or misunderstood. So you can't always take everything you have at face value when you hear it. That's why I'm asking the question, because I think I had heard something about how they grow together. People would get them confused, but just like with the rose quartz and stuff, if it's left out in the sun too long, eventually it starts to fade,
Fade.
and then with the fading, it can become confused as to what stone you actually have.
Yes,
In
very
in one
much so.
sense. So
Very much so.
I think that's where my mind was going with it. Okay.
So also citrine.
Look,
Citrine. The pale yellow version.
Um, also citrine, very good for fibromyalgia and for increasing your metabolism. So here's where Cheryl should interject a joke about me using it for 100 or so pounds of it. But
I was just
Well,
thinking the same thing for myself.
I'm not quick
for
on the-
you. I was cracking
not
it up
quick
myself.
on the
I was
jokes,
like,
so-
I'm gonna steal that
how
from
can
you.
I stick it in the arms? And last but not least from the quartz family is smoky quartz, which, sorry, following my notes, reduces anxiety and it gently restores physical energy to the wearer.
I heard also it's good for like sexual energy too.
I run a family shop.
All right, I should shut right up. Thank you. Have a nice day. Well, that's not necessarily a bad thing, though. I mean, like I was doing the video this week, and I relate that to like the sacral chakra, and so sexual energy is not
Exactly.
just about that. It's about feeling good about yourself. So you have to be able to understand sexuality without necessarily always having to have sex. It's about feeling good about yourself, and I think in a sense that would be a good stone also in that sense to help you feel good about yourself and coming into, like I said, if you can feel good enough to stretch your stuff a little bit to have a pep in your step, then that's you having a healthy sacral chakra. So okay, I shut right back up.
And there are definitely plenty of stones for those type of things. So
It's just one that's
really?
always been in the back of my mind in that form. What?
I said, oh, really?
we could go into a lot of unique shapes of stones that are out there.
Oh, come
that
on,
I
man.
don't carry in the shop, but
That's unoriginal. Any jerk with a chisel can make a phallic shape.
well,
But they may not do a good job with it, okay?
I'm not interested either way. I want energy, man, not shapes. Except for the crystal balls are kind of fun to play with. Phrasing.
also high on the list. I'm moving right along. Also on the list of general practitioners, probably my next favorite, and when we get to the part about cleansing stones, you'll see why, is selenite. Number one, it's beautiful because I don't know if anybody can see this, but if you've ever looked at selenite, it grows in strands. Um, it's like very sharp splinters. You get
Yeah,
one in
I
your
was just
finger, you're
thinking,
really up creek. But
could you maybe show a few of them?
I can. You can talk.
now that is a selenite tower, but it comes in many different forms. Selenite's greatest attribute is the fact that it cleanses other stones. So if I take and pair one next to it, and yes, they got to be touching, um, it will take the negativity out of that other stone so that, or cleanse that other stone so that you don't have to worry about, oh my God, my stone needs to be cleansed and it's 2.5 weeks until the full moon. What do I do? Um, so selenite, very good for that. It's also a magnifier. So we'll talk about black tourmaline in a minute, but black tourmaline is best for removing negativity. If you pair black tourmaline with selenite, now you can get rid of the in-laws that are, coming over and, won't leave and always complain about your cooking or the way that you treat other people. And that will help remove that negativity from your home. So
But don't you
selenite,
still have to cleanse the selenite?
yeah, well, technically no, but like we were talking about earlier, you always want to, what the?
What you just did.
Okie dokie.
She hopped on Facebook.
Oh, shame on you.
She had to know.
So, showing it love, yeah, I suggest putting it out under the full moon all the time. Okay,
That doesn't
It's
necessarily
just-
mean outside.
we'll get there.
I'm just making sure.
We'll get there.
I keep throwing him off mark. Anyway, apologize.
So, selenite cleanser magnifier, black tourmaline definitely should be in everybody's arsenal of stones. And when I say
Why don't you
arsenal,
give-
I don't mean to throw
Why
them.
don't you
Okay,
just show them all
no,
real
don't.
fast?
Negativity, fear. It helps with chakra alignment. So very good stone. Here. These I didn't have big versions to bring, so I brought what I had. This next one is sodalite. It's good for your throat chakra and helping you be able to speak your thoughts when you have trouble conveying them. It's also good for anxiety and for a balance between your mind and your emotion.
If he's looking for the one I gave him, because I've given him one of these before. Yeah, it was the one that you had as a necklace for a while.
Oh, yeah. I gave that to a kid who absolutely needed it.
Ah,
So this next one is fluorite. It's very good for concentration, for balancing positive and negative fields within the body, and it helps people to be impartial. Some say it is also a very good stone for cleansing others. Um, it comes in different hues. You'll find it in green, from light green to dark green into some very strong purples as well.
isn't it a good spiritual stone too?
Yes.
Just in general.
Yep. Green aventurine is very good for the heart chakra. And as we were talking earlier, green aventurine is also a very good stone for fertility.
Why is it always green?
You would think that would be more for heart than fertility. You would think that would go with. Well, never mind. Let me shut up. I'm taking it in the wrong direction. But you know what? Aventurine is also good for legs, for healing legs. My mom has problems with her legs, and I used to make her little bracelets and stuff. anklets, not bracelets, that would help her legs a lot, and just by making adventuring ones.
So I'm going to shamelessly plug this book here. Um, this is probably our
Number
most
one.
favorite and number one selling book at the shop for stones for a number of reasons. First, in the back, it has a full list of ailments and issues that one can have, and it lists a great deal of the number of stones um, that are known to work on those issues. Um, and also, I get a lot of people walking into my shop going, I found this. Can you tell me what it is? And, right after my human side says, it's a rock, silly. Um, I, the book is laid out in color order, so it narrows things down a lot easier for you to find something in 10 or 12 pages versus all 623. So the complete crystal handbook, great reference guide to have for stones, and
Shameless plug.
very good. So I told you I was going to do this.
Yeah.
So there are two other stones that are very, very, very important
To
from
me.
their property standpoints, but to my particular health because they're ones that my wife is in love with, and that is labradorite and lapis lazuli.
Labradorite. Okay, so labradorite for me, which I also have it in a good friend made mala beads for me, which I'm playing with right now. But it's labradorite can be a calming stone, but also it's to work with your higher self, your higher consciousness, to be able to work on different planes at the same time. So, being a medium and tuning into the spirit world, I don't find it a necessity. I find it very helpful with that connection. And I have also used the stone to do vision work with ancient civilizations, which is very interesting because it can take you back to the ancient times. So lapis lazuli, which is my bracelet, which also looks like sodalite. So don't get confused with that. Lapis lazuli is bluer and less tans and browns, such as sodalite does have that. Um, Here we go.
I'm sorry for laughing. I'm just realizing me and you carry the same stones. The one you
Yeah.
have, your that one,
Labradorite.
your labradorite is what I put in my shaman mask for right on my head.
Oh,
Boom!
yeah.
It's
Oh, I
time
know.
to
It
lift
takes-
up and go.
Yep, it does. It's labradorite takes you straight up, I think.
Yeah,
Or it
it's
takes
the
me
psychic
straight up.
energy, and let's
Yeah.
just go.
Yep.
And I always carry the lapis too.
Lapis.
I mean, I like lapis very much.
Lapis is good for calming, but it's also in order to speak the truth. So once again, being a medium, speaking, I have problems speaking in mass groups, but to give information to a client, to be able to speak is a necessity. So it helps with the vocalization of speaking to give the information, get the information across. But that's their properties anyway. I just
Do you wear those two normally?
yes.
You know what?
Hmm.
It's probably a cipher together of helping make sure when you are speaking, you're ciphering all the energy so you're getting it right.
Probably. And these are my two stones. I do have other stones that I carry in my purse, but these are
those aren't blue.
they're not blue.
They're not the
No,
ones
blue is
she
a whole other
loves.
story in my life. Can't you tell? But there is a whole nother story about blue. That's a whole nother story. But yes, these definitely have a lot of meaning. So the labradorite also, depending on the look of it, can be very cosmic, which has to do with the astral plane and the universe. So it's just very easy to,
I like the blue labradorites best.
yeah,
Plus,
definitely.
they go with your. In some cases, well, a lot of. Okay, most people have heard like your birthstone is this or your birthstone is that. Yeah, yeah, that can be, but there are so many more than just those 12.
Correct.
Because I know that one, the blue labradorite, also goes with my birthday. So I don't remember how I came across it, but I mean, and I was like,
And
it
what
goes.
month is that?
Mine's birthday is July 28th. Somehow or another, that comes in within a week's time. After I don't remember how I came across it, but I was like, well, no wonder I love you. It falls into stuff that I what I'm saying is like you have the monthly, like each you have we're told typically you have the 12 months and these are your birthstones, but maybe you're not drawn to that one. Like rubies don't do crap for me.
And I'm garnet, and I,
Yeah.
yeah.
But there's other ones I've come across. What is it? There's also I think Period is one.
Peridot.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
It's a,
And it's another one that I'm like, oh, and it technically falls into my birthstone stuff too. So I mean, the more research you do and more learning you do about that
There
stuff,
are
and yourself,
many other stones out there for the months.
right? I mean, you
More
find
unique
that
ones.
just because this one doesn't work for you doesn't mean that this one won't.
Exactly.
Okay,
It's all
I'm sorry to
preference.
No, no, not at all. Because you touched on blue, you touched on different stones for the
Birthstones.
birthstones, and what I'm going to talk about next are all the people that come in asking for stones for their chakras. And Roy G. Biv, bless his heart, I just want to smack the crap out of him. If you want to come in and pick out red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, and walk home and say, I've got my chakra set of stones,
Then so
that's
be it.
fine. If your intention is that they're going to work, then they will work for you. But like I've said, each stone has tens, if not hundreds, of different metaphysical properties that they could do for you. Then, your crown chakra, which is violet, could actually be orange. Like this carnelian works for me on my crown connection. Your heart chakra may be red. It's a matter of what the stone's properties are and how in balance or out of balance your chakras are, as to what's going to work for you. So you can go by the color to start, but don't. Okay, get that color thing out of your mind when it comes to the energies of stones. It doesn't necessarily have to be
No.
blue for this, green for that,
And
or whatever.
just to say, we don't carry the typical chakra stone sets. We have people coming in asking for them. We won't carry them.
I think that's best.
Just because of this reason. And the other reason too is the stones, like Norm was talking, work differently for different people in different areas. So
Exactly. My chakra set actually has like 3 black stones in it.
Exactly.
I mean, like 3 black stones, and then there's a clear quartz, but and I don't know, but I mean, you wouldn't know that it was for that.
So
Other than that's happened to be what it is for me.
exactly. So when somebody
Now,
walks
you're not
in,
saying that there's that much negativity in your chakras, right?
No,
No.
I'm
Okay.
not. I have issues in some spots, but we're not a negative person.
so when people walk in and ask about the chakra sets or chakra stones, I actually do a chakra reading, which is reading the 7 chakras, but then somehow, depending on my guides, whatever they direct me to, I start going into medical issues or physical. I just say it could be physical, mental, or spiritual, wherever it goes, because you have 7 layers of auras. you have 7 chakras, 7 main chakras. Okay, there are 21, but you have 7 main ones. So it's going in and reading those chakras. I might be asking questions just to see if I'm tuning in. And then it's the stones telling me where they need to work. And that's just how I do it. The stones talk to me. They tell me where they need to go. People can walk out of there with sometimes 4 stones, up to 10 stones. It just depends. I've seen some out of balance to the point where, it's hematite magnetic balls, one in each hand or one in each pocket, just for balancing. It's all different things, and 9 times out of 10, these people will be doing either yoga or meditation, and I try to get them to put the stones physically on them for the meditation purposes to allow the energy of the stones to work in those areas. But every person is different, so not all 7 chakra stones in a set are going to work for every person because they're just not.
And sometimes, and this really has nothing to do with crystals, other than for people who have no idea about anything to do with crystals. You'll have people who will buy, just like you were saying, because they, in their mind, they've been taught these are the colors.
Yep.
And then they're buying junk, and I mean junk. Like, it's and plastic is not going to be the same as a crystal.
No.
I mean, it may, on an intuition level, it may help you because, you know, on an intuition and psychic level, you're connecting it that way.
You're connecting to the color.
You're connecting
not-
to the color, and you're
not-
connecting to the idea of healing oneself in
Exactly.
that way. But you're not actually using crystals in this. You
No.
are. Plastic is plastic,
Mm-hmm.
and there's definitely a difference because you see people, or I see like the little commercials where, get this little chakra stone, this little chakra, all of your chakras, and it's like a keychain or something. But but that stuff's plastic. You can tell the difference between crystals and plastic and stuff. And sometimes people are fooled because it's not that they're not intelligent, but they haven't been made to be intelligent about the difference.
Or they're just
Going by the colors of chakras is good if you're working with candles. It's good if you're working if you're getting a banner to view. But to go by the colors for the chakras is like a doctor prescribing an aspirin for every type of ailment in the body.
And-
whether it be a headache or whether it be cancer, they're going to give you the same aspirin, and that makes a ton of sense. So
Wouldn't it
Don't.
also be though? Okay, like I said, there could be like 8 different kind of crystals that all deal with these specific issues. Where this one works for you, but those 4 don't. What I'm saying is depending on where you are in your life, trying to work with chakra work and crystals at the same time. This crystal may be good for this chakra, and so is these 5. But today, this month, this one
Exactly.
is the one you need.
Right.
But 2 months later,
once,
this
And-
one is the
once
one.
you build it
Exactly.
up, then you need to move to the next
and
one.
and
Exactly.
when I don't want to say prescribe because that's not the right word, but when I yeah
You
give-
are prescribing at the time
I
of what
prescribe,
they need.
yeah, the information of the crystals to them. If they're really in tune with the stones and they do meditation with it, or just even allow the energy to work, I'll tell them, eventually you might feel a stone that you don't need anymore. It's just gonna, maybe it just doesn't feel right anymore. Just put it away. Don't throw it away. Just put it away
Because
because
you'll
that
come
means
back to needing it again.
right. You might need it again, or something else needs to come in view of that for that chakra at the moment. But
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. Like in
that's more about learning to be in tune with yourself, your chakras, and the healing process with the stones. And stones do change. They're not going to change overnight. I know that.
exactly.
But-
All right, perfect example of what I'm trying to get at is I love rose quartz. However, I have some forgiveness issues. I have some trust issues, which I am constantly always having to work on my heart chakra. moldavite is what I need.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there are times where the rose quartz will get my mind in a better place. But for my actual chakra, I need moldavite more. So what I'm saying is that's why I was touching base on it.
Mm-hmm.
Because depending on if you're out of alignment, if you're flat out blocked, if you're overactive, those crystals may need to change according to work with you on where you are. And mine isn't just this life. Mine is also some past life issues, and I'm aware, and that's why I need the moldavite, because I need something. I don't want to say stronger, but I need something that's more of my kind of energy. So I think it shifts, but that's why I was bringing it up, because, like I said, with the colors, you're completely right. But I wanted to touch base on, you may need more than one chakra set. You may need a couple and have to exchange them and intertwine them from time to time. That's why I said I thought it was best when you said you don't really sell one. I mean, sell a bag and create your own.
And I have found too on reading people that sometimes 2 or 3 stones come up for one area. And it's like, okay, one day you're going to do this with it, and the next day you're going to do this with the other stone, or you're going to carry one and use one. It's however the guides tell me how you're using these stones, where you're placing them, and what you're doing with them. And it's allowing that to just happen, and to be to work with them.
You have to just work through the
You
experience.
have to work through the experience, and you have to believe in it. That's the next thing. You have to really believe in it. But it's not just working with the chakras either. Pterodactyl? No? Okay.
What?
Nothing.
Me and her have a lot of really ancient work together, apparently.
Is it?
um,
Is he flying around? Okay.
Okay, well, while they're talking about pterodactyls,
Yeah.
I want to touch base on a couple of different things that people also ask me a lot about.
Okay, this
Number
is a
one-
show about stones, not the Stone Age, ladies.
Yeah,
hey, we
Hey.
might be taking stones all the way from there.
Please,
like
Norman.
the lightning.
number one, tumbled versus raw. A lot of people ask, is one better than the other? For me, I prefer raw. It's a mindset thing, though. You know, to me, tumbled still reminds me of all natural, of the earth, so it keeps me informed about that. Tumbled, however, tumbled is just as good. It is nicer to walk around with a tumbled stone in your pocket. Those that are raw do tend to, point you and poke you in the legs and so forth. So, but it's your personal preference. Okay, one is not better than the other one. The other question that arises that's a little bit more difficult to answer is natural stones versus man-made stones. There are a lot of man-made stones out there, and man-made is a broad term that covers everything from stones that are heat treated to create other types of stones to stones that are created from a process of mixing other things. For instance, bismuth cubes are designed from melting bismuth and then repouring it to form shapes. So, when you get into those, the best thing that I can do is, if your energy connects with that, then man-made or not, if it works for you, go for it. That it's going to be an individual by individual case, and it's not a question that you can ask one person and get a true answer, because what works for me may not for you, and vice versa. Another thing real quick, this rose quartz that I have is in heart shape. We carry a lot of different shapes of stones at the shop, and like I've been preaching all along, a lot of this, 51% of this game is your intention, 49% is the stone itself. And I carry these because a heart-shaped stone, every time you pick it out and hold on to it, hopefully after a while it's going to get you in the mindset of working for your heart or loving yourself or feeling for yourself. I carry spheres because the energy of that helps one to be well-rounded. um, Pyramids. I carry stones in pyramid form because the way those are shaped, it actually converts the energy to a stronger point so that it helps to magnify that energy for you with whatever purpose that it's doing. So, and lastly, I carry stones, some of them that are in the shape of an egg. And we were talking about fertility and sexual issues earlier. That if you take that and hold it and use your intuition and think that will actually, or use that to create that mindset that it's helping you, then that's another step in the positive direction for it.
I have a question,
Sure.
and more or less, it's something that's being told to me right now, and I don't think that you sell it, but I'm being told to touch on it. Elixirs, because people make elixirs with crystals. Do you have any books on it?
Not,
No.
no.
Now, one of the vendors that I order stuff from offers those.
The reason why
And we're still in that new state that I've maybe in
some people don't
3
even know
years
about them,
had
too.
2 or 3 people ask about them.
Well,
So
the only reason I'm interrupting is because Spirit, I think this has to be for somebody who's watching or gonna be watching. Um, if you're gonna be making elixirs, first off, know what you're doing and actually do your homework, because crystals are very good for holding and stuff, but elixirs is something you're drinking. And when you're doing elixirs, there's very much an importance of them to be tumbled. And some of them, even if they're tumbled,
Mix
you
with
still
water and
cannot
drink.
mix
No.
water and drink. They could still harm you.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm being told more or less for whatever reason, you need to know what you're doing and don't just let me try without any idea, because you may actually be causing harm to yourself. So if
They're
you're
toxic.
into
They
it,
can be very toxic.
then for you all, you may want to look into books about it too to sell. But I'm being told for whatever reason that something to do with elixirs and crystals, and you need to know what you're doing. And it's very important. But yes, they should be
very,
tumbled. And
very
sometimes
good
they
point.
can't be. Sometimes you can still make an elixir, but technically it's not allowed to be in the water. So I mean, like I said,
Mm-hmm.
make sure you know, because like I've made selenite elixir before, but selenite's not to go back in the water. It's supposed to be separated to set out. I mean, but I'm just saying, for whatever reason, I'm being told apparently somebody's going to do something wrong. So please do your homework.
And we have had people come in and ask about small tumbled stones to make their own elixirs. So yes, okay.
So I may have
That's
to
very
rush through
important.
these, or I'll get
The
the
boot.
ruler on the hand from Hill
Mr.
Hippie over
Hill
there.
Hippie.
You got 15 minutes.
15. Oh, wow. Okay, good. So the next topic I want to touch on is how to choose your stones. Now, in the shop, I have a full stone wall that's 10 feet long and probably 7 foot high. Each peg of each type of stone, I have between 15 and 20 on a peg. How do I pick out the one? Each stone has vibrational energy. We touched on that earlier. And each person has vibrational energy. Now, if you liken this to the old radio stations where you had to turn the dial, you want to find a stone that their vibrational energy matches up with yours on the radio station, because that way you get the clear sound coming through. If they don't match up, it will work, but it's not going to work as strongly if the two of your energies match. So, how do I know? I'm new at this. I don't know. So, a couple of things are going to happen. You walk in and you're standing there in front of the stone wall, and suddenly your eyes will be pulled to different stones all over the place. I call that the eye candy effect. Your body will know what you need because your soul is in there talking to it. It's telling you what you need to pick out. Um, it could be an attraction. Oh, this stone is just absolutely gorgeous. I need that one. And you just don't know why, but that's the one you got to go to. Um, and also, as you go through those, um, from time to time, a person will feel the stones and they'll either get warm in their hand or they'll get cold and they'll have feelings along that line. So, those are different ways that you can figure out which stones uh, will work for you. Now, also, um, a lot of people will come in and they'll say, like we were talking about earlier, I need such and such because I was told it's good for this. Okay, that's great. But when you walk up to the wall, you're thinking about this ailment that you need a stone for, and you're drawn to this one over here that is the farthest thing from the one that you were told about. And here again, the stones know best. This one over here is calling to you because that's the one that's going to work for your particular ailment, whether it be a stone for anxiety or headaches or what have you. Um, there have been known to be a lot of stones on the wall calling out to people for different things that they need that um, when they get up to the counter to pay, out of their mouth comes, I'd have never thought of getting this for that, but the stone told me, da da da. So,
I think that also has to do with, in general, a lot of times we think we know what's wrong with us, but we're furthest from knowing what's wrong with us.
oh,
Right.
exactly.
Like when, like
Exactly.
Cheryl and I have talked about before. When we do readings, I tell people all the time, and I know she's the same. You know, I'm not gonna tell you what you want to hear,
Mm-mm.
and it doesn't matter what you want. You're gonna get what you need.
Hmm.
So
Yep.
I think the stones are doing the exact same thing, like you're saying. You may have come in thinking that this is wrong with you, but you're not really completely accurate about what it is that the crystal is actually telling you. No, no, no. We're gonna work in this direction because you're all wrong again.
Yep. And last but not least, there are those customers that go through experiencing all of the above and still don't buy it, and you will hear 8, 9, 10 times a day a stone hitting the floor, and they don't believe me, but if you pass over that stone 3 or 4 times and that stone is trying to tell you something, then you're going to accidentally brush up against the wall, or you're going to hit another peg, and a stone from what you're supposed to have is going to jump off the wall and land on the floor for you. So those are
Absolutely true.
just a
I've seen this
few
stuff
ways
happen.
that you can choose stones. So, all right, so you've chosen your stone. Now, how do you work with them? Um, like I said, this is just as much your mind as it is the stone. So, um, you have to believe in it first. Okay, you have to be of the mindset that this is more than just a rock. This is a stone that carries energy in it that is going to work for you if as long as you believe in that. Um, when you believe on that, then you need to do a couple of things. First, you need to carry the stone on you, and we will generally recommend that the closer you carry that stone to your ailment area, the better. Whether that be in a necklace for your heart, in your pocket for an ailment. I've had people that had foot ailments that we've said to carry it in their shoe,
In the
not
bra.
necessarily right. Yeah. Um, yes, like Cheryl said, in their brassiere. Um, but someplace close to the ailment so it can work best for it. Um, if you have trouble sleeping, amethyst, put it under your pillow. Okay, don't put it right under your head, between your head and the pillow. That's going to keep you awake. But you know, just a little common sense about it will help you out. Number two, oftentimes we'll tell people that the best way to work with the stones for their particular ailment is to hold them and meditate with them, just to get your vibrational energy working, and then feel that energy in the stones working, and just kind of melding together. Um, and three, oftentimes through Reiki. Cheryl has done some sessions with a Reiki practitioner that we know in the area, and you can use those stones right on the energy meridians or the chakras, and use them that way to help that energy flow and break through and help you out. So those are just a couple of ways that you can use them to help you with the body. And remember, there's many properties to each stone, so make sure that you're open to all of those possibilities. And now the part of the program that everybody wants to talk about. How do I cleanse my stones?
That's an important part.
It's very
It
important.
is,
yeah.
because so many people come into the shop, and out of my mouth comes, do you cleanse them? And out of their mouth is,
No.
what's that? Do I give them a bath? Do I take them in the shower with me? So
They're not dirty.
yeah, if you only knew. So there is positive energy and there is negative energy. And your stones, just like you, are an energy magnet, and you don't just draw one or the other. You're going to draw both. Stones have a property of drawing negativity out of us into them, and it's usually that negative energy. Because they realize that if they pull that negative energy out of us, then that heals our ailments. So they pull it, but 99% of the stones don't have a way of releasing that energy. So how do we help them out with that? First and foremost, putting them out under the full moon. Now, no, that doesn't mean that you need to go out into the front yard and place them out under the full moon when the clouds are away and I get the full visual. Okay, it's energy, people. It's not a visual. Okay, it's the energy of the full moon, because the full moon is up there. All right.
It's up there.
You can put them in a window that faces in the entirely different direction of the house, but because it's out under the full moon, it's picking up the energy of the full moon. Okay. Now, when you use the energy of the full moon, Mother Nature has kind of given us a get out of jail free pass. And you can actually use the energy 2 days before the full moon and 2 days after the full moon. Okay. It is slightly reduced. It's like 85%, but it will still cleanse those stones. And some of you out there, and you know who you are, have stones that need to be out all 5 of those days. So,
Why do I feel like all 3 of you are looking at me?
And he's still looking at you.
I'm just going to sit back here and turn knobs and fiddle with buttons.
number 2 on our list of the best things to cleanse your stones with is selenite, because it's readily available, and because other than those 5 days of the full moon, you've got it all the other days of the month to use. It does a very good job of cleansing negativity and then releasing it itself. It doesn't hold on to that negativity. So selenite. Number 3 for us is Himalayan salt, which works very similar to the selenite. Both of these, however, if you use them heavily during the month, you want to show them some love on the night of the full moon. So do that. And then last on our list is sage. Smudging the stones is very good and works, but you want to try to do the other 3. Now, people ask me, how about sunlight? How about water? How about moonlight? Sunlight, I don't really work with a lot, because if you have a stone, for instance, like amethyst, that is going to fade in the sunlight, it is not going to be very thankful that you cleanse it in sunlight. And water,
Big no.
I don't care how much you think this is tumbled and protected.
No.
You could even use some type of sealers on them, which, no, don't do that. But stones are porous. Stones and water should not mix unless you're only dabbing or rubbing, and then be very, very careful. Stones like selenite, because of its shards, and this one's getting very friendly with me, but water would make that completely fall apart in about 3 or 4 hours. So I do not recommend water whatsoever. So, and last but not least to all of this is I've picked out my stones. I know what they do. I have made sure that we make a connection. I have cleansed my stones. Am I ready to go? Well, yes, technically. But what you should also do is charge your stones or set your intention. Okay? Stones do a lot of things. Stones read your body and make connections with what's going on and say, okay, he's got this ailment or that, or I could really help out here or there. Um, but if you meditate on them, I highly recommend that you ask your guides and guardians to assist this stone in working to the best of its powers to help you out. But just tell the stone, this is what I'd like for you to do for me. Can we work together? Sounds funny, but it's really as simple as that.
I tell people all the time, I'm like, just talk to your stone.
Yep.
I'm like, talk to your crystals. And like I said, you heard me say in the very beginning of the show, I apologize to mine all the time. So, I mean, and there's only one thing I have to add because I know we're running out of time. It's almost time's up. But and I'll let you say one last thing if there's anything else you want to say. But I do want to say, you can also cleanse them also to a point by returning them to earth in a sense by returning them to earth and but I would tell you to watch that and I would tell you to watch that in the sense of like sometimes people will bury them even if it's just very not very deep, you know, just kind of like bury them in the earth and allow, you know, the oneness and Mother Earth to cradle it more or less. However, universe has a way of doing some funny things, so sometimes they just might swipe it because I've had them also disappear that way. With that being said, is there anything else you want to say before we finish up the show?
One last
I was
thing.
gonna say with that, yes, stones do have a habit of disappearing if you're not treating them right,
Yes, definitely. Or
not
if
using them right, not cleansing them right, or if you're basically you don't need them anymore. So stones do have a habit of disappearing.
That's why I said I learned I
Yeah.
have to tell them I apologize before
Yep.
we even start.
now you also have to know that stones that do the same thing, it might not be a very good idea for you to wear both of them around your neck or in your pocket. For instance, clear quartz and smoky quartz and citrine. And yes, I've had people come in and had all three in a bag in their pocket. This is like, J Lo having three really big bodyguards, and each one of them wants to be the number one guy. Okay, so they may very well push each other's energy out of whack to be the one that vies for their ultimate attention. So, um, careful what you do. First and foremost, make sure that you go out there with an open mind and do it. And by all means, anytime you have any questions about it, you can call the shop, you can talk to Cheryl, you can talk to me, and we will help you get into this. It is greatly beneficial. It is definitely a form of holistic healing, and we need more of that in the world. So thank you for listening to us.
Hold up, before we finish the show, why don't you remind them where you're located?
We are located at 914 Caroline Street, and the shop's at Caroline Square. And what that means is when you walk up to 914 and you look at the door that has those numbers on it, you're going to see a antique shop. And rather than be like most people and get on the phone with me, which you're more than welcome to, we are in a shop that has 42 different vendors in it. And each of those vendors have small booths in there. I've got the whole back of the building. But look past all the antiques, come all the way to the back, and we are right there with everything that you need.
Much love from me, Hill Hippie, and the Grove of Brite Blessings. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye.
clear.